It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant Pride.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Welcome into today's episode of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. My name is Madelyn Burke, alongside Paul Dottino. The phone number here is 201-939-4513. Or you can join us on social media using hashtag GiantsChat. An archive of this show and our entire podcast networks is available on the mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and giants.com/podcast. And we're coming to you live from the Giants Podcast Studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. It's Tuesday, December 23rd. Happy Festivus, Paul.
Yeah, indeed. Although, how happy can we be with that freezing rain, snow, wintry mix that's coming down right now?
Sounds like you're already airing your grievances out here about things.
Well, I do have a grievance with the weatherman.
Yeah, with the weatherman.
Okay.
Listen, for those of you who are not familiar with the Festivus lore, it is a made-up Seinfeld holiday that I am quite fond of. Frank Costanza, George's father, invented it. Essentially, you got to hang an aluminum pole instead of a Christmas tree. It starts with the airing of grievances and then the feats of strength. It is the most one of my favorite episodes of Seinfeld, and it's December 23rd every year. So,
our listeners know very well I have never watched Seinfeld and never will. It is not my program.
I find tinsel distracting.
That's okay.
This is why we're educating, right? I'm not assuming everyone catches all the pop culture references, and so I'm like, you know what? Listen, Dots is watching Giants documentaries.
That's it.
I'm gonna tune into a Seinfeld episode every once in a while, and we're gonna celebrate the holiday that is or isn't.
Yeah.
You know,
isn't is more like it right now. You know, it's funny because over the years, the NFL used to not play on Christmas. Mm-hmm. And now the NBA, which had a chokehold on Christmas for, 25 years?
Quite a while.
30 years even? That was their holiday. Thanksgiving was the NFL. Mm-hmm. You had the Lions, you had the Cowboys. Always. Those two teams always played a doubleheader on Thanksgiving. That was your NFL holiday.
Right.
And when the NBA decided that they were going to say, well, we're going to take Christmas. Nobody's taking that real estate. We want it. You know, because years ago there was a Chiefs-Dolphins game in the early 70s. It was a playoff game.
Well, there have been some Sundays that fall Christmas Day.
Right. So there have been periodic games on Christmas, but the league never wanted to take over the holiday.
Right.
Well, all of a sudden, a few years ago, after the NBA had claim on it for decades, Roger Goodell decided, let's see, some of these new streaming partners want some more games. Why don't we sell them Christmas games? And of course, what happened? He put a couple games on 2-3 years ago, and it is now to the point where there's a triple header now on Christmas, right?
Right, there is. But I think it's a smart business decision, Paul, because when you think about it as a consumer, as a viewer, as a sports fan, Christmas Day, much like Thanksgiving Day, is a day where you're home. You're not at work. You're home. You're with your family. And, you do the family stuff for a while, and then everyone kind of gathers around the TV. And if you're not going to watch the NBA games, or you're not going to watch Love Actually for the 900th time, maybe you want to throw on an NFL game. And it's a day in which you've got a captive audience. And I think working in sports, too, I always think it's one of the greatest things to work on the holidays, because you are being a part of a broadcast that is getting so much more eyes and so much more attention, because people are home rather than, caught up in the busyness of their lives. They're like, all right, let me be home with my family and watching these holiday games. And it's a treat, because it's a whole nother level of prime time, much like Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football. It's just all eyes on the big stage.
Well, I don't mind working on the holiday. I'm a workaholic anyway. So I just assume work 7 days a week and not take a holiday. But my thing about it was, that's the NBA's day, and the NFL has Thanksgiving.
Well,
and you're an old-time NBA person, so you appreciate this too.
Yeah.
So now, like, the Knicks are on. The Knicks play every Christmas at the Garden.
Yep.
Now, I'm not lucky enough to have next season tickets. John has a partial, or I think he might have a full season. So he's probably gone to a bunch of them.
Call up Don Sperling, get the +1.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know Don goes.
Don goes every Christmas.
Okay. So now that's a big deal. Christmas Day at the Garden is a big, big deal.
Yep.
Now, as a Knicks fan, even though I've never gone, I will never miss watching the Knicks on Christmas Day at the Garden.
Fair.
Everybody in my family knows. Knicks are on at 12:30, I think it is.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Leave him alone. He's watching the Knicks for the next 2.5 hours. Okay. But now, because I am an NFL guy first, okay, even though I don't care necessarily about the teams that are playing, I'm still an NFL guy first. I now have to make a decision.
No, you don't, because I got news for you, Paul. We got to introduce you to the multi-screen experience.
Okay.
Paul Dottino, I think, ladies and gentlemen, is ready for the multi-screen experience.
I get it.
You can still pick your 1A and 1B. You can have on the TV. You can have the NFL game. Say you want to. Your heart belongs to football. You can have the NFL and football, but then you can prop up a tablet or a laptop and stream the Knicks.
When the Giants are off on the weekend, I sit in my living room or my den, depends on which room the wife wants. I get the other room. The TV gets one game, laptop gets another game, second laptop gets another game.
See?
And I have 3 NFL
Work
games
smarter,
going
not
on
harder.
Sundays when the Giants are not playing.
There you go.
So
And
I'm familiar with the
Yeah,
concept.
yeah. See, so you're familiar. You could do it, and instead of just 3 football, you go, football, basketball.
I know, but see, I'm as passionate about the Knicks, almost. No, nothing beats the Giants for me, but I'm a pretty emotional Knicks fan.
Don't say.
I can't.
News that surprises nobody.
I could never watch a split screen Knicks game. No. If the
Okay.
Knicks are on, I'm watching the Knicks.
Yeah.
Now,
Maybe you avert your eyes in the commercial breaks. to
between
the other
commercial
stream.
breaks,
Yeah.
I might flip for 30 seconds to check on the early football. And I don't even know what's the early football game.
Let's find
Do you
out,
know?
because I think
I don't even know which one it is.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Now
the
there are
order.
3 games, right?
Yeah,
It's
there's
a
3
triple
games.
header on Christmas. And by the way, Goodell knew what he was doing because I don't know if you're aware, Madelyn, but the NFL Christmas Day ratings have crushed the NBA since Goodell put those games on.
Well, yeah. Okay, so the early game, it's Lions Viking. Or no, first it's Cowboys Commanders at 1 p.m. Then Lions Vikings at 4:30. Then Broncos Chiefs. I think Roger Goodell understands that in the United States, the NFL is the predominant sport, which is why they're not shy to encroach on Christmas Day. They're not shy to encroach on NBA All-Star Weekend, which in a couple of years will be now Super Bowl weekend. And you get President's Day, the Monday, off after Super Bowl. So congratulations, football fans, have another.
I get it. And for Roger, it was a chance to just expand the revenue stream.
Yeah.
Because I believe all 3 of the Christmas Day games are stream games, right?
Yeah,
I
they're
don't- I
all
don't-
available. They're all on Netflix, or 2 on Netflix, and the third, the night game, is on Prime Video.
Right, so they're not even regular television.
Broncos Chiefs on Prime Video with no Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, right.
That's going to be a
Oh
tough
boy.
one.
And Minshew's hurt too.
Yep. Al Michaels is going to have a day. I respect it.
So, but I guess what I'm saying is Adam Silver just came out, the NBA commissioner, for those of you who don't know. Silver just came out. Did you see the number that he gave to the media? I think it was yesterday. That NBA viewership on the whole is up, was it 40% or something since last year?
That would make sense too, because the NBA has had a change in broadcast partnership. The NBA on NBC,
Correct.
bringing back a lot of the nostalgia. The NBA on Prime, they're doing a great job. And I think
The John Tesh theme is great, by the way. How could we not love that back?
Basketball.
Oh,
but I
awesome.
think a lot of sports fans and basketball fans, who maybe weren't tuning into early season basketball games, were tuning in to see, okay, what are they going to do? What's this broadcast going to look like? What is this Michael Jordan interview going to sound like? What is this going to be? And then you get in and you get hooked and you're like, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm on the
I get it.
bandwagon again. I've built the habit. I've built this into my routine of watching it and tuning into, one of these broadcast partners.
And I
for
suppose
an
the
NBA
NBA
season.
Cup has had something to do with that a little bit.
Maybe,
And,
yeah.
and
the fact,
certainly the resurgence of the Knicks.
yeah,
Go Bockers, baby.
there you go.
Resurgence of the Knicks. That's been a big deal. The league loves it when the Knicks are good.
The league loves it when the Knicks are good.
And the Lakers are good, too. They like both teams.
That's
very
true.
much so.
That's true.
But anyway,
although
the point,
LeBron James did say that he would rather be home with his family than
Yeah.
playing on Christmas, which I think is a sign that we're getting near the end times for LeBron. I mean, this
think
man
so,
has
too.
been in the league for 23 years, for longer than some of these rookies have been alive. So it's getting to be that point. But anyways, we digress because this is
did.
Big Blue Kickoff Live, and we are
sorry.
here to talk about the Giants. But you know what? We're sports fans, the core of it, and I'm sure all of you listening are as well. The Giants, though, 2 more games, penultimate game of the season at the Raiders this weekend.
Yes.
How are you? Listen, Dots, you gave me a great idea, or you had a great idea earlier. You said, listen, with Christmas this week, we should give the Giants a Christmas gift on the field.
Right.
What
position?
What position would you gift the Giants? And now here's a question. Is it for the remainder of this season or for the foreseeable future?
If you could give them a gift-wrapped position right now and say, this is yours, take it as long as you want. Doesn't have to be for the next 2 weeks. It can last into next year, too. It's a gift. When you give a gift to somebody, it doesn't just disappear in 2 weeks.
That's true.
They get to keep it as long as they want to have it or until it breaks, right?
Yeah.
So, I look at it, and I think we all understand. We've already kind of started thinking a little bit about the draft. Not a lot, but a little bit in my case. And I think, to be honest with you, I would absolutely love a big play receiver. I would love a cover corner. I would love a stud defensive lineman. But I think since I can only have one to give to the Giants, I would box a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
An absolute stud defensive lineman. Because I'm going to be of the opinion that Neighbors will come back and be the superstar that he is.
Yeah.
I'm of the hope that Cordell Flott does re-sign with the Giants. He's had a really good season. And that Paulson Adebo returns to being the Adebo he was with the Saints before the Giants signed him. He's had a very rough year. Injuries were a part of it.
Big part of it. He was out for several games with
But
injury.
I'll count on a rebound.
Yeah.
So,
and I think, too, you've got Flott, Adebo, you've got some strength at corner, but you need depth there because the drop-off from 1 to 2 is significant.
But right now, the defensive line is not getting it done against the run, no matter who the coordinator is. The Giants are not stuffing people at the line of scrimmage as well as they have to, and they're not keeping Bobby Okereke clean enough to be the linebacker that he is supposed to be.
I think also, too, you got to consider, you think about the injuries that have plagued the Giants this season, and the big ones that stand out are Malik Neighbors and Cam Scatterbo, of course. And, Neighbors will come back next season. You've got that big play wide receiver. Scat will come back next season. You've got another forcible presence in the run game.
And the offense as a whole.
But before either of those went down, the Giants suffered a significant injury that I think we forget. Micah McFadden. Micah McFadden is a big part of the way that defense functions.
I'm counting on him coming back, though.
I am as well. But I think when you look at the way that this defense has functioned for the majority of this season without him, I think that absence has played a big part in, everyone else's kind of shortcomings, for lack of a better word.
To some degree,
To some degree, too. So I think when you look at next season and a reset and everyone kind of healed and healthy and ready to go, this is a very different unit. But I
hope so.
I hope so.
We all do.
We all do. I might, and I mean this with a lot of love and respect for the players who have come in and played this position, but I would gift the Giants a kicker.
Okay.
That they can count on. And I, a lot of respect for Ben
It's not
Sauls,
a bad idea, by the way.
the rookie left-footed kicker who came in and made his debut last week. They got hyped up. They had the special teams getting the intros before the game against the Vikings. Sauls made his kicks. Yeah, the opening kickoff didn't land in bounds, but after that he found his rhythm and he found his sea legs. But the kicking game in the NFL is one of those positions that if you're doing your job well, nobody cares. If you're not doing your job well, suddenly it's a big deal. And that's a hard cross to bear, right? If you're perfect at everything you do, then nobody's even thinking about you. And that's the goal for a kicker. And I think the Giants over the last couple of years have had so many issues, whether it be injuries or inconsistencies at that position. I would love to give the Giants a kicker that they don't have to think about, that they know, all right, yeah, we're in this range, we're going to put them in, and we're going to trust that it's going to go through the uprights.
Gano was that guy until he started to get hurt.
But you know what? That happens when you're on the back nine, and I think Gano had an incredible long career.
Terrific career.
And is an incredible player at his best. But once he gets to a certain point in, you get a lot of wear and tear on the leg, and then the injuries start adding up, then it's time to say, okay, maybe we turn the page. And so I think there are a lot of guys who have had success and talent at that position. And who knows? Ben Sauls could grow into that. I mean, I would love to see a Better Call Saul's back page on the New York Post. I mean, let's go.
Look, the kicker is directly related to points because every play he plays outside of a kickoff, PAT, or field goal, is points.
It's points. That's why oftentimes...
I would not dispute you at all on that.
Yeah.
I think that's a very fair guy to want to give them, a kicker.
I would love to bequeath that gift for the holiday season and henceforth. 201-939-4513 is the phone number. Giants fans, make sure you go and subscribe to the Giants Huddle podcast. It features long-form interviews with Giants players, coaches, and front office staff past and present. Plus, you'll hear from the best analysts covering Big Blue and the NFL. Just search for the Giants Huddle and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, or simply go to giants.com/podcast. And don't forget, if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star positive review for all of our Giants podcasts. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. You know the deal. 201-939-4513. Let's head to the phone lines this holiday season. We've got David in North Carolina calling in. David, welcome to the show. You're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Dots and Madelyn.
Hey there. Early Merry Christmas to you both.
You too.
Same to you.
I haven't had a chance to call in a while, and I just I saw Paul was hosting, so I try to put things in perspective, and I know how long Paul has been a fan and obviously had to endure some tough years there after the great 50s teams.
The Yale Bowl comes to mind.
And so I kind of grew up at the tail end of or came into my fandom tail end of the Parcells era. I was really young, 10, 11 years old. So my teenage years, prime years of playing football were trying to fill that gap after Sims, and so it was definitely some difficult years there, but as a Giants fan, there was always a certain level of respectability and also a realization of, it might take a while to find that franchise quarterback because we're just not that high up in the draft that often. And then, obviously, I don't want to take up too much time, but we were able to kind of have a transformation project there with and revitalize Kerry Collins' career, and that was a great success story there. But we just it was odd for us to be high enough in the draft, and it almost took a perfect scenario the year that we were able to be that high up in the draft for Eli. You think about that year, Fossil had everything go wrong with multiple injuries. That team was just very, very injury riddled, and I'm just I hate to have this kind of a call this close to Christmas, but I never thought I would see the Giants with John Mara at the helm just be, I hate to say it, just bad for so long. It just kind of blows my mind, and I know people want to pick at nepotism and family, and I come back and say, well, if you had a successful family business, would you not want to have your family involved and be a part of the business and grow up in the business? So although that's a tough dynamic, I've never held that to against Mr. Mara, and obviously know Mr. Mara wants to win. I have no doubts about that, and I know he's going to do everything in his power to win, and I appreciate that as a Giants fan, and I appreciate Mr. Mara having those standards to be willing to spend money and try his best to put a respectable product on the field. But I will say I was really, really disheartened with the past couple press conferences. I thought Mike Kafka latest press conference just really, I don't know, maybe it's just my opinion, really hurt the standard for this organization. I know Mike's involved in the offense, but I thought it was glaring when he was asked the question this week about some things on the defensive side of the ball, and he openly admitted that he didn't really have a chance to view it or see it and be a part of it, and he would have to, go back and look at the tape. And I just, listen, I get it. I know he's an offensive coordinator, and now he's the head coach, and obviously there's been a ton of coach offensive grounded or calling plays, but to just come out and say, hey, you know what, I didn't see it, I was too busy over here with the offense, boy, I thought that was a bad look for the organization and just as a head coach in general. And then the last thing with the Joe Shane press conference, one thing I took away from that is, he talked about not repeating mistakes. And I think about the kicking situation where the kicking position is so you can't keep an extra kicker, right? It's just not in the cards. And so once something happens with Graham Gano, probably the second time, you probably have to say to yourself, hey, you know what? This guy's a great guy, great kicker when he's healthy. But if there's any risk whatsoever, hamstring, anything, I can't take a chance on this guy costing us a game again. And it continued to happen. And then the other thing I'll point out that this front office continued to not learn from their mistakes was the Josh Azudu experiment. I mean, I don't think you could find anybody around the league that thought Josh Azudu could play left tackle. And this organization continued to try to press that forward and not really have a viable backup. And I know backup left tackles are hard to find, but to let someone like Andrew Thomas just wreck the team when he goes down, it's almost inexcusable that you let one player just totally destroy the offense and destroy that side of the ball if he gets hurt. And so that's just a couple things I bring up as we approach here at the end of the year of some of my disappointment on how this proud organization has – I don't know what's happened. Something's happened, and it's sad, and I don't like it. But I'll let you guys comment on some of those thoughts, and I appreciate you, what you do, and Merry Christmas.
Thanks so much, David. Thanks for the call. David getting us started on Festivus with the airing of grievances, and I get it,
All right. I think there are 2 points that he made that I would like to clarify, and maybe if I can give you a little more information, you may feel a little differently about them. I've talked to people about the whole Graham Gano thing. Now, this is the third year in a row he has suffered an injury.
Yep.
And it's forced the Giants to juggle the roster and have to deal with multiple kickers. So here was the issue. Please, as I always say, instead of being 20/20 hindsight or a Monday morning quarterback, what I ask you to do is go into your time machine, push the button back to the offseason, and understand that given the situation that the Giants had, Joe Shane's idea was, we think the team is going to be competitive. We think we've got a chance to actually be a whole lot better this year, and we're going to be in a lot of games. Turned out he was right. They were in a lot of games. He was right about that.
Yeah.
He thought that a field goal kicker could mean the difference in at least 2 or 3 wins, maybe more, because they would be involved in a lot of close games. And he wanted to give Brian Daboll and this team every chance possible to win as many games as they could. He did not want to take a chance on Jude McAtamney, who is a young, inexperienced, 1-year-plus practice squad player, okay?
And who they also had the international exception for to keep him on the roster, so it wasn't as much of a,
It wasn't a burden to keep him around.
It's not a burden to keep him on a roster because you have an international player exception, so it doesn't count on the,
So knowing that McAtamney, through all his time here, was rather inconsistent on his field goals at practice and in camp and everything.
But they saw enough in him that they thought it was worth developing him on the practice
But he
squad.
was not ready to kick this year. At least that was not the thought during the offseason. So what Joe did, he decided, well, let's see. We've got money invested in Gano because his contract still has another 2 years left, this year and next year. So if we cut him, we're going to take a couple of $1 million plus salary cap hit, which the Giants were really aggressive in free agency this year. They signed like 14 free agents because they really went after it, thinking they could be a competitive team this season.
Yeah.
They didn't have the money to burn under the salary cap to cut Gano. That's one, from a business angle. Number two, they wanted to give Dable a reliable veteran kicker who, by the way, Gano's track record is amongst the best in the league when available. I get it, the asterisk, when available. I get that. But he was healthy all offseason, did all the training he was supposed to do, checked in with the training staff, the strength and conditioning staff. They said, hey, he's good to go. He's in great shape. He looks terrific. He's kicking wonderfully in the spring and in the summer. We got no problems with him.
Yeah.
If you're asking for a red flag injury-wise, looks like he's good. So that's 2 boxes that he's checked at that point. The third box is this. If you want to still make a move after Gano checks both of those boxes, now you got to tell me which kicker out there is on the street and has a very reliable track record and is going to be the guy who is going to be at least as good as Gano, that if you get rid of him, you got to look at Brian Dable in the eye and say, Brian, you know what? I'm worried about Gano's age. I'm worried about his injury. I'm going to bite the salary cap hit, and I'm going to give you this veteran kicker instead. That's a pretty hard thing to do.
But it's a job.
It's a job that requires a decision to make, and I don't think, and I invite anybody out there, go back to the transaction wires over the course of the summer and tell me which veteran kicker who had an outstanding track record, at least close to being Graham Gano's track record, would have been the guy that you wanted to bring in here and give your head coach. I defy anybody to give me that player.
Yeah.
Because there's not.
Hindsight is 20/20, and it's always one of those things that when you look back, you think, okay, could have done it this way, should have done it that way, wish we did it this way. But you do the best you can with the information you know in the moment, and that's all that we can ask of these people.
That's right.
And that's,
And the risk of the injury, based on the information they had, the risk of any kind of injury was lower than the risk of taking a substandard healthy kicker and throwing him onto the head coach and saying, you know what, you got to try to win games this year with this guy. That's not a smart option. So I hate to disagree with you, but the Gano thing, that's a hindsight comment. As far as I'm concerned, Joe did what he had to do. He weighed the scale and he made the right decision. It didn't work out, but it was a logical decision at the time that he made it. Because anybody who argues that point, anyone has yet to give me the appropriate name that they would have brought in. Not one person has come to me and said, well, they should have got rid of Gano, and this is the guy they should have signed. Nobody has a name for me. So guess what? You're all on the wrong side of the fence. Because unless you had the answer, you lose. It's that simple. Now, the second item, Joshua Ezeudu. I know an independent draft guy who consulted with North Carolina and who actually scouted Ezeudu to give him and his family advice on what he should do, whether he should come out early in the draft or not. The North Carolina people and Ezeudu were told, if you stay your full years in college, he had one more year of eligibility, you, with your athleticism and your talent, you will likely be a second-round draft pick. That's the advice he was given. You'll be a second-round, and that's not from the Giants. That's from independent draft people who consult with players and college teams. Mm-hmm. You would be a second-round draft pick because of your talent and your athleticism and ability. Giants wound up taking him in the third round, as you know, because he came out a year early. He decided they needed to do it. There were 2 reasons. One, he wanted the chance to go pro, take care of his family. The other thing was, at North Carolina, they were so desperate for offensive linemen. They were so thin on the line that week to week, and sometimes even within a game, he would flop positions. So what was he? He was a versatile guy who could play everywhere on the line, but a master of none. they hurt his development.
But also the versatility is the thing that the Giants liked about him when they drafted him, and that's the thing that they pointed to when they said that, oh, we like what he is able to do in that versatility. So I think this is kind of taking that hindsight and rebranding it as a negative when at the time it was viewed as a positive.
It was viewed as a positive because when they drafted him, what they were hoping for, that as a rookie, he could plug in anywhere on the line using that versatility, but that eventually, he was supposed to then compete for a starting job in year 2. The problem was his development was hindered so badly by having to move around everywhere that he never became a master of any position.
He also dealt with some injury in his rookie season as well.
He was.
Yeah.
But it became a curse. It actually hurt him long term. It hurt his career to be that versatile. It helped him stay in the league, but it hurt his chances of developing and becoming the starter that he might have otherwise been had he stayed. Now, he was told, or at least he was told by the North Carolina people, we really would love to see you back and finish your time here. But then the problem was he looked at that offensive line and he realized they were not going to let him develop at one spot. They were going to keep bouncing him around again. And again, folks, there's 2 levels of value here. Versatility may value you enough to stay in the league, but it does not allow you to master any one position where you can be a rock-solid starter for somebody. It's also 2 levels.
As a player, you come into the league and you develop in the area in which you are asked to develop. You evolve and grow in the role in which you were asked to do so.
And the Giants had a needed tackle, and that's why they put him out there.
But they also used him at guard and all that kind of stuff. They did the exact. So when you talk about how he looked at the North Carolina and said, the Giants drafted him with the thought of, okay, your versatility is a plus, and we're going to develop you at versatile positions and play you across the line because that is something that we see that you're good at. And so it's not a knock on Joshua Ezeudu that he has come in and done, okay, this is what I was asked of me or anything like that.
Oh, it's no knock on him. It's great. It's unselfish of him to do what he had to do.
Yeah, and it's like
for the team, but it did hurt his own career.
Sure, but as a fan, I think people can look at it and say, oh, this, that, or the other thing. But it's like you got to also separate what a player does and also what they're asked to do versus what you want them to do. Well, that's not what the team is asking of them, and so that's an important thing to
He did what North Carolina wanted him to do for the good of the team, and he's doing what the Giants want him to do for the good of the team.
Yeah.
It was never for the good of him. He was never selfish about it. But what has happened? He's now in a position where he's kind of positionless. He is still nothing but a versatile backup. And that's a shame, because if he had at some point been allowed to develop at the position that he would have been best at, well, then maybe, just maybe, we'd be looking at him as a potential answer in 26 if they lose a Van Roten or if they lose an Illuminor. Now, thank goodness they got Marcus Bowe.
Yeah.
Because Bowe can be the Illuminor successor if Illuminor leaves via free agency. But if Van Roten retires, does anybody out there feel that Ezeudu has done enough at guard that he can be that guy? Probably not. And I wouldn't blame you one bit. But I hope the full information on both of those points makes you a little bit more willing to understand the different perspectives rather than where exactly the angle you were coming from.
Absolutely. Special Olympics New Jersey's annual Snow Bowl is heading to Rutgers Football Stadium in 2026. This annual flag football tournament will be on the field from March 6th through 8th, 2026. The 6-on-6 tournament will feature competitive recreational and co-ed divisions, and all proceeds benefit thousands of Special Olympics New Jersey athletes across the Garden State. Register your team today at njsnowbowl.org. That's njsnowbowl.org. 201-939-4513. Let's go back to the phone lines. Coach Marvin in Delaware, welcome to the show. You're on with Dottino and Madelyn.
Merry Christmas, Madelyn and Paul.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. While I was calling, I was just watching the game this morning from this past Sunday. And the real question I'd like you guys to probably answer is, what type of team do you think we are right now? Because I can't have a specific player. You can't say we throw the ball, run the ball, play great defense. Is there any part of the team you can identify with this team?
Coach, the team is as unclutch as they come. That's about the only thing I'm identifying with them right now. This is the season of unclutch. Whenever they need to make a play, they really need it. It's a gotta have it. They don't have it. That's what I identify 2025 with.
Yeah. And I was listening to Carl Banks, and I was listening to Tiki Sunday, and I think the organization needs to listen to those two guys because they actually are being honest about what's going on. I watched it this morning. Capta, to me, I looked at it. I thought it was a pretty good game plan. Every time they lined up with 8 in the box, you could run the ball. They could run the ball, but they could run the ball. But I thought they didn't do a good job in play calling. I thought that they should have did a little more play action when under the center rather than in the shotgun. So it wouldn't matter what they were going to do when they had 8 in the box. Because if you're going to run the ball, you can see they was gashing them. And then once you start gashing them, what they're going to do, they're going to bring that extra guy again, trying to stop the run. And that's when you can hit them with a little more play action. And they didn't do that. I thought they should have done that. So I didn't have a problem with the game plan, but I had a problem with the play calling of that game plan. Mm-hmm. The other thing I was thinking, Banks. Coming out of college, Banks was a lot of people wanted Banks, and I was probably one cheering that on. And Banks didn't have a bad rookie year, but something has happened, and I don't know what it is. But sometimes your body language can tell a lot to me. Speaking for me, body language tells me a lot because the team itself. They have problems setting the edge defensively. They have problems with angles because that's very important in football. Angles, which leads to leverage, and right. they're lost in that also. There were some plays, guys, they had 3rd and 13, 3rd and 16, mm-hmm. and guys just their angles was just bad. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if the coaches, and I would assume these guys are some of the smartest people in the world that's teaching football. And can the guys comprehend what's teaching, or the people that's teaching them can't make it simple enough for them to understand? Either one of those is bad. And so I think that's what we're going to have to fix. There is some things there that I see. Abdul Carter, the interim defensive coordinator, moving them around is somehow has energized them a little more, and I like that. Brian Burns is Brian Burns, and sometimes they have their moments that the defense plays well. I'm not going to crush them totally because I feel you said it earlier, Paul, they have been competing. If you look at those games, they had chances to win those games, and that's competing. And the other part I say, once you can compete, then I have to teach you how to win games that you should win. Mm-hmm. And once you start winning those games that you should win, then the next level you have to get to how to become a winner, not just win, but how to be a winner. And sometimes that takes the coaching to get you over that next hump, to put you in the right position and in the right call to be successful, to be a winner. And I think we're missing that, and I think we need the coaching. I don't know what they're going to do there. It goes back to what you said, Paul, when you're talking about the kicker. You can point out all the problems you want, and you call it, you telling me that. But when you tell me that, give me somebody else who you talking about that can be in that spot. When you were talking about the kicker, mm-hmm. Who was the other kicker that that they were gonna put in that spot?
Well, that's the same point that Paul just made too. Is that there's not an obvious choice, although there are probably a lot of kickers that young guys coming out of college or guys that you maybe not top of mind now that you could have given an opportunity to that could have earned their spot. I mean, who would have seen Cam Little becoming the kicker that he is in Jacksonville, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that haven't had the chance yet to earn those stripes yet, so names that we maybe don't know yet because they haven't had their opportunity yet in the league.
George Young would always laugh, and I learned so much from George. I love being around him. George used to go.
And Marvin, thank you so much for the call. We got a lot of callers to get to. Happy holidays.
This is a bad impersonation, but George would say, you know what, before you tell me that I got to make a change and you ask me a question about making a change, you better have the answer to the question. And he was right. He was right. If you're insisting that what this is bad, well, come on. Fuck it over. Give me the answer then. What's better?
I mean,
too many people ask and complain and don't give you an answer.
That's fair. That's fair. Speaking of impersonations, we got a YouTube comment that gave me the giggles over here. Peter Ward says, every time Pauly Dots cracks his drink open, I'm reminded of the movie Major League when Bob Uecker was cracking Budweisers when calling the game.
Euchre, yeah.
Or Bob Euchre, sorry.
I must be in the front row.
Yeah, exactly. So,
good.
Yeah, that one gave me a little chuckle there. All right, Giants fans, you can take your fandom to the next level with the Giants season ticket membership. Catch all the action at MetLife Stadium with an exciting home schedule on the horizon. And with the membership, you'll also stay connected to the club all year round, not just on game days. With exclusive member access and benefits. To learn more about a New York Giants season ticket membership, visit giants.com/tickets, 201-939-4513. Back to the phones we go. Rob in Connecticut. Rob, welcome to the show. You're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Paul and Madelyn.
Hey, Madelyn, P-Dot, how's it going this nice Christmas Eve?
A nice Christmas Eve to you, too.
Nice. Well, terrific. Anyway, two things real quick. I want to know what your opinion is on what I thought was a debacle of a broadcast with Jonathan Vilma, who is like resetting this Jackson Dart narrative, which is my next point. I think his performance on Sunday, and actually the last couple of times, has been abominable. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I would say, it's hard to judge the performance of him when the play calling was so much run centric.
Is he asking about Vilma or is he asking about Dart?
Yeah, I think he's
Vilma, yes, because I think Vilma is like reducing Jackson Dart to like a preseason rookie free agent starter. I mean, he makes him sound like he makes him sound terrible. Actually, he makes him sound like a Bush League quarterback. So that's my takeaway on that anyway, and I wanted your opinion on that.
That's interesting. I can't comment on Vilma's play calling because we were at the game, so not watching the TV copy there, but I'll have to look into that. But I will say, Sunday Jackson Dart's numbers weren't, Hall of Fame caliber.
No, they weren't.
But it's, again, too, you got to take into consideration what he did versus what he was asked to do. I mean, they didn't even attempt to pass until the 6th or 7th play of the game. It was a very run-centric play calling, and I think that he was doing what he was asked to do in that regard. I think going up against Flores' defense, he was making decisions. Some of them he got lucky that they weren't picked off, and some of them other things happened. But I don't necessarily say that that's a game that you look at and watch the tape and you say this guy doesn't have it.
No, I agree with you totally.
No, I'm not saying that Jackson Dart doesn't have it. I'm saying Jonathan Vilma doesn't have it.
Yeah,
it's a color comment.
Neither one of us know, and appreciate the call. Neither one of us know what Vilma said because, again, we're working the game here on site. And even when I go back and look at the All-22, I'm not watching the TV or listening to the TV copy. So, and to be honest, it's irrelevant to me what a color analyst will say. And this has nothing to do with Jonathan Vilma. Because I'm looking at the All-22 and I'm also talking to the coaches and the players and asking them about certain things and, understanding where they were coming from or what they saw, what they didn't see. That's more important to me than any TV analyst talking about it from upstairs in the booth during the course of the game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's no disrespect to any of the guys who are in the booth because I think some of them are really, really good. Like, I'll be honest with you, Troy Aikman's outstanding. He's outstanding. Have you ever listened to Aikman doing those games with Monday Night Football? He's really, really good.
Yeah.
So again, disrespect.
There's a lot of talented players or people that are calling games in the booth, and they all see things through the lens of their own preparation
Sure.
and experience.
Sure.
So I don't know what film Vilma watched of Dart to prepare for the game. I don't know what tape or what games of darts he has been focusing on to develop the impression of Jackson Dart that he has, right? I don't know if he's watched all season of Jackson Dart or maybe just the last couple of weeks. So all of that plays into a factor of what Vilma's perception of Jackson Dart is. But again, I would say to Giants fans out there, trust your own eyes. I mean, you guys have been watching these games and this team for several years, if not more. And so I think you take it all with a grain of salt, whether what it's Jonathan Vilma says or Paul Dottino says or I say or, anybody else says. I think, Giants fans are smart football fans, and they've got a lot of,
There's a lot of ways to look at things. I will only say this. From what I know of Jonathan Vilma, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Casillas, who was a teammate of his in New Orleans, tells me he was a good guy and he knows his ball.
Well, you can be a good guy and know your ball and just have a slighted opinion on somebody.
Exactly. And that's fine. That's fine. So this is not an indictment on him. So I tell the caller, hesitate before you take significant issue with Jonathan Vilma as an analyst. You may disagree with his opinion, and that's perfectly fine. Everybody can have a different opinion, but you don't have to necessarily slam the guy if you just saw it a different way.
Apparently, Richard Armstrong on YouTube is chiming in saying that Vilma was bored by the game, so he kept talking about the Bears game. I don't know. We didn't see the copy, but the Bears are who we thought they were. You want to crown them? Crown them. They're coming for the NFC right now.
Yeah, I will. Well, no, I didn't see the TV tape. I don't know how true that comment is.
Yeah,
but I will say this: it is important to me as a viewer that the guy sticks to the game that he's doing. Again, not knowing exactly what that situation was.
That's fair. The Giants' official connected TV streaming app, Giants TV, brings original video content and game highlights on demand and direct to Big Blue fans. Giants TV is free on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, and on the Giants mobile app, 201-939-4513. Let's go back to the phone lines. A perfect caller for Festivus here. We've got Wilson in Roxbury. Wilson, you're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Paul and Madelyn. I'm sure you've got some grievances
Wilson,
to air. What do you got?
I will start by wishing you a Merry Christmas, Wilson,
Madelyn,
before you go into your diatribe, okay?
Look, Paulie is cringing. It's cringing. Look at him. Paulie, don't take it so personal. We're just having fun.
Go ahead.
Look, Paulie, listen. Okay. Hopefully, Paulie, after 2 weeks, you won't have to make any more excuses for this horrendous general manager and Brian Dable that he's gone already. Because what these two guys did to this franchise, Paulie, this past 2 seasons is almost criminal. It was a franchise malpractice. I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, that's it. We'll start fresh next year, building our foundation. That's on that. And my main point is this: if some delusional Giant fans out there, and media and whatever, they want to tell us that this kid is a franchise quarterback, they have to have their head examined. This kid is not it. I've seen him basically live in the blue tent, and when he's out of the blue tent, I've seen him for basically a whole season, and he's not it. Okay? I don't know if you have the number 1 pick and you don't pick this Fernando Mendoza, which is a bigger kid with stronger arm and probably a lot smarter, just to give Giants fans some hope, then we have no hope.
Wait, Wilson, you want the Giants to take a quarterback number 1 overall when they just invested a first-round pick and traded up for a quarterback last season who is not only on the field but also has been selling jerseys and creating a culture around this team?
Madelyn, listen, they only gave up like a third-round pick, and this kid is making a little bit more money than backup quarterback money.
But what does that do to a locker room if you immediately jump off, you immediately quit on a guy?
Madelyn, listen. Madelyn, listen. You know, when you see somebody, you know, and I've been watching football a long time. This kid is not it. Do you take another chance? We can't go. Madelyn,
oh,
listen.
boy. I really want to let you just handle this call, but
now Linda.
Now, see,
Wilson, I respect your take as a football fan who's been watching football a long time. I also respect the idea that, the Giants have made an investment in a player and they made a decision to take this player. And I think that they are going to invest in allowing him to have some leeway to to develop and perhaps trade back instead of taking another quarterback who you might look at and say number 1 overall pick. Some of them have been great. Some of them have been flops, more often
That's
flops.
what I'm saying. Madelyn, listen, Paulie, listen. Madelyn, it doesn't make a difference. If you don't think you have the guy, you pick the next guy. Eventually, you're going to get it right. This kid is not it, Madelyn. We cannot go. We deserve something.
No.
We deserve...
You need to answer a question, Wilson, before we let you breathe another breath. I'm going to try to help her out here because I really wanted to let you handle this guy. But now I got to get involved.
Him get it off his chest.
Now I got to get involved. You're so smart, Wilson. You've been watching football such a long time, and you got this whole thing down. So in 2004, when Eli Manning in his rookie season was dreadful,
3-13,
was dreadful in his rookie season until he beat the Cowboys in the last game of the year. Until that point, when they were as bad and as deep into the quicksand under Eli Manning, what did you say then? Did you think Eli Manning was any good, or did you think he was no good? Answer the question. If you can't answer the question, you can kindly hang up because you're not going to be part of this program. Answer the question. What did you think of Eli Manning? What did you think? Pearson, he's done. He's done. He's done.
What?
He's done.
All right. Well, we got to, short leash today on Festivus here.
Well, here's the problem,
The feats of strength.
Here's the problem. The problem is very simple. He claims that he has an eye and that he knows football and that he knows this guy's not the guy. Yet, Jackson Dart's rookie season to this point, was far better than Eli Manning's season was as a rookie to that point.
I think
that's a fact.
I think Wilson is giving Jeff Probst energy. And what I mean by that is he is consistent in every time he calls in, somebody else has to get voted off the island. And you know what? Nothing if not consistent.
All he had to do was answer the question. He could have stayed on. But he refused to answer the question.
That's fair.
I
think,
that's it.
I think Wilson had a lot to say, and I respect that. I respect his perspective and his take, but I think we need a little bit more time. And I think it would absolutely be a terrible idea to, one season after trading back into the first round, getting a first-round quarterback that gives you a fifth-year option on his contract and a player that has not only come in and has been, at times, a talented player on the football field, a game-changing player, a decisive player, also in the locker room, a leader, also culturally around this team, building a culture. Giants fans are buying number 6 Jackson Dart jerseys. You don't just hop off that bandwagon because you have the number 1 pick. And there's no say, listen, I have a lot of respect for Mendoza. I think he's a talented college quarterback. We don't know what that's going to translate to. Number 1 overall picks. I mean, Cam Ward's having his struggles this season. Baker Mayfield took him several years before kind of coming into his own and finding success. Oftentimes we see a quarterback taken first overall that's not immediately changing the game for the team that they're playing for. So what's to say that the Giants are going to say, oh, well, now this is the answer to all of our problems? I think the answer to their problems is trading back. If they do end up with the number 1 pick, trading back, recouping some of that draft capital that they traded away for Jackson Dart last season and perhaps some more, and stocking up on depth, because that's the biggest flaw of this team is they've got some talented starters, but if a man goes down with an injury, the next man up, sometimes in some positions, the drop-off is so significant that it affects the production on the field.
Mm-hmm. And you're 100% right. If they get the number 1 pick, they should trade it. There's no doubt in my mind. That's what they should do. Simply put, Jackson Dart has shown more positives this year than any Giants rookie quarterback since Phil Simms in 1979. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line. That's not in dispute. And you know what? If anybody truly wanted to grade Eli Manning's future after his rookie season, when he came in for Kurt Warner and slid right down the hill, into the depths of the canyon, until the final game when they beat the Dallas Cowboys. Tiki Barber and I were just talking about this on the postgame the other day.
Yeah.
Until that game, everything that Eli did during his rookie season was bad.
But then his sophomore season, they turn around, they go to the playoffs. Same with his brother, Peyton Manning. Peyton's rookie season, he's 3-13, is just giving the league interceptions.
He was awful.
And then now
Troy Aikman.
And then
awful.
now sophomore season
awful.
turns it around, goes to the playoffs, and is now a future Hall of Famer. So I think you can't judge a player by the record in their rookie season, but you judge them by the intangibles and the moments and the growth that you've seen. And I think Jackson Dart has that in spades. And the certainty of what you have with Jackson Dart to build off of is much more than the question mark about a potential drafted player at quarterback. I don't even know why we're entertaining this, because there's not a universe in which that's going to happen.
It's
but,
foolish.
It is what it is. All right, well, that's...
Are we done?
I mean, we're done here. That's all we got. That's all she wrote. I mean, the Giants have the Raiders on Sunday. Should we talk a little bit about that game?
Well, it's a 4:00 kickoff.
There you
on
go.
CBS.
We've got facts for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Paul, are you gonna be putting anything on red or black or?
No, I don't gamble at all.
Me neither.
Nothing. I have nothing to do with it. So honestly, this trip for me, look, last time we went to Las Vegas, I'm one of the biggest Elvis Presley fans in the world.
Are you really?
Oh yeah, huge Elvis Presley fan.
Okay.
So I can't wait till Epic comes out in February.
Mm-hmm.
But I had never been to Vegas before, so when we went out to Vegas a couple of years ago, got to go see the Westgate Hotel, which was the old International Hotel, where Elvis Presley made his comeback to live concerts in 1969. And it was really cool because that hotel is intact. They've expanded it, but the basic part of that hotel is the same. It's the same. The showroom's the same.
Yeah.
The lobby's the same. It's still the old International, but it's now called the Westgate. That was cool.
That's cool.
But other than that, there's nothing there for me in Las Vegas.
That's fair.
I'm sorry. There's nothing there.
Have you
Great
made your
stadium, by the way. Great stadium.
Yeah.
Allegiant Stadium.
It's
great
wild
stadium.
too when you drive by it on the freeway. There's like a big screen on the outside that you can see, and I would absolutely. I mean, first of all, is my high school graduating class superlative was worst driver, so I'm going to caveat that with this. But I would absolutely get in a car accident because I'd be like, "Oh, look what's going on in the game!" And then, boom, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so
great stadium,
but great stadium, very high tech, and then you got the
Yes.
Sphere over there too, which is pretty cool.
And it was not opened at the time I was there,
Mm-hmm.
and I walked past it, and I'm like, it's a giant glowing marble.
Yeah, it
Big
absolutely
whoop-de-doo.
is. It absolutely is.
I guess if I was
Listen,
inside,
what
and
will
actually
they come up
saw-
with next?
I don't know, but if I was inside, maybe saw something in there, maybe I'd be like really freaked out. But walking past it, I'm like, okay, it's a big, giant, glowing marble.
Yeah.
Again, big deal.
It's shiny. It's a
Whatever.
shiny toy. Before we wrap it up, I just have to give credit to Peter Ward 1285 on YouTube, who has come up with a tremendous idea. And Pearson, I feel like you could produce this.
Mm-hmm.
We need to put Wilson and Charlie on an island and let them argue it out. I mean, that would give First Take a run for its money.
Can I produce remotely? Not on the island.
Good call, Pearson.
I am here for it. Listen, I appreciate the passion that the fans are bringing. Whether or not we agree with you, I think it's a fantastic thing to have people this invested. And we shall see. But you know what? The week goes on. Week 17, Giants, Raiders. Have fun in Vegas. Have a happy holiday.
No show tomorrow or on Christmas, but we'll
No
be back
show.
Friday.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yes.
Programming alert. We'll have Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off. Spend some time with your family. Watch some NBA and NFL games.
Go Knicks.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Big Blue Kickoff Live, which is part of the Giants podcast platforms everywhere and giants.com/podcast. For Paul Dottino, I'm Madelyn Burke. Happy holidays.